Trucking is more than just driving. It's a mental game, long hours, isolation, stress. They can break even the toughest truckers. The real question is, how do you stay motivated, focused, and avoid burnout? Tonight, we're going to tackle the mindset and strategies that keep trucking entrepreneurs on the road to success. Right here on Trucking Talks Live. You better be here. We're going to do this thing. Be right back.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charley from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
Your business will make you money if you do well at that business. And ES Advantage in trucking, they do really well at providing those services. So the effect that ES has had on our personal trucking operations, not even talking about what we do on the consulting arena, I've been able to save thousands of dollars a year in fuel because of the relationship with them. I have a new accountant that I work with, trucker CFO, that I learned about from ES Advantage.
They're giving you that 10,000 yard kind of support from behind that creates a way for you to succeed, which is one of the things that we love, because anything you can do to help someone succeed is going to help them succeed. They make money by making sure you make money.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
Jeff, did you hear about the guy who's afraid of escalators?
No, what about him?
He takes steps to avoid them. All right, got it out of the way. What's up, man?
Okay. It's a day.
Oh, God.
I've been working since 2:30 this morning. What about you? Oh, yeah, that's right. You have these things called days off.
Yeah, I did that. I did that. Yeah, scroll back through the chat for some of the Lisa jokes. I don't want to get yelled at today. I like them. They were funny. Double entendres and such.
Yes.
Yeah. So, look, on my screen, in both chats that I run open, it showed Wimpy first, Donna second. That's the way it happened.
Okay.
I'm just saying. They both had the same timestamp, but the first one to post it that popped up on the screen, and I have two chats that I watch. It was Wimpy, then Donna. Like, it was like a second. It was pretty cool, actually. I was actually kind of impressed. And then I got so excited by that I don't even know who third was.
Somebody.
Let's see. I'll scroll back. This is exciting video. I know. This is probably where we lose everybody right here. Looks like Matt Nissen. What's up, Matt? Chris Hamilton. Michael Fowler was here. Had to leave. Lisa, good to see you. Sean. Yeah, you got to change that name, bro. Just saying.
Yes, I've already said something.
I love you, man. You know what? I didn't even think about it. It makes sense. Sean Pearman, good to see you. James, how are you doing, man? James over in West Texas. I don't know. Where the heck you at, Jeff?
Opelika.
Oh, like Craig, man, you're so far down the list. It's crazy. What's up, buddy? Oh gosh. So you know what? Let's just dive into this, Jeff. What do you say?
You go right ahead.
Oh gosh. All right. Let me reference my. Oh yeah. So every trucker's faced exhaustion, frustration, feeling burned out. Difference between those who thrive and those who struggle isn't just skill; it's mindset. You guys know that Jeff and I are always pushing mindset. You know, the entrepreneurial mindset. Getting your mind right on the right track is really key to a lot of things. You know, we're going to talk about the mental challenges of trucking, how to stay motivated, the habits that keep successful trucking entrepreneurs at the top of their game to be all fancy like, right? But Jeff, why trucking is a mental game? Go. You're welcome.
What? Why?
Okay.
Why?
Long
Why is
hours
trucking-
alone on the road, high pressure deadlines, unpredictable schedules, managing financial stress and business responsibilities. Leads us into signs of burnout and how to recognize it, right? Fatigue, a lack of motivation, increased frustration, and loss of passion for the job. Look, I am struggling with my passion for the job. I love the business still, but I am struggling with the passion for the job myself. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, that my mind has not been right, and it's from multiple different things. But anyhow, mental and physical health struggles. This is where I fall into. Literally both, right? My mind isn't right. I'm physically not right because of my neck, my back. Oh God, that triggered a song. Wow, not good, not appropriate. But yeah, so the migraines and all this, I'm just not in it, man. And that's a big thing. But so there are a stack of things we could look at here. Let me pull up my little bigger version because I can't see it on the screen right here. Long hours and sleep deprivation, extended time away from family, financial stress and unpredictable income, high pressure deadlines and road stress, of course, mental and physical fatigue, isolation, and lack of social connection. These are all things that we can work on. I mean, Jeff, you have to deal with it. You stay out crazy long, and you are
for months at a time
by yourself.
Yeah,
I'm lucky I got Rosie.
Well, so modern communications helps a lot. Like even when I first started driving in 06, we did not have like Zoom and FaceTime and we have Verizon, so they got that button where you can do a video call. I can see my wife's face and whatnot. And every once in a while, Pete will want to get in there and, hey, Dad, all that. So you can actually see your family. So it's not. I have a thought, Charlie, but I'm having a tough time with it.
Nice.
Because I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I'm mentally and physically fatigued right now.
Right.
And you know what I'm doing? Not driving. I'm just going to point that out.
For real.
All of us know, like with the hours of service, one of the reasons we hate the hours of service, Charlie, is because it limits our choices on when we work and when we don't. There are literally days where I feel like I'm on top of the world. I could drive safely for 15, 16 hours.
Right.
But not legally.
Right.
And then there's days when I get an hour or two down the road and I'm like, dude, I need to stop and take a nap.
Dude, I was at my first store the other day, right? I hadn't even driven yet. At my first store, finished making the delivery, was like, I need a nap. But, I didn't. And then I got all jacked up on coffee and caffeine and nicotine, so whatever.
Yeah. Financial stress is a big one. Our incomes as truck drivers, for just being a truck driver, not even being in business for yourself, that unpredictable income. I got to tell you, Charlie, that alone has ended marriages,
Oh yeah,
right?
and people.
And people. People have unallied themselves because of this.
Exactly. And
You
that's
know,
not groovy.
You know, one of the things Charlie and I talk about a lot is you get in this bit of a rut where you've been a driver for long enough to where you're like, what else would I do? It
Right?
becomes part of your identity. You're a truck driver.
Yes.
It's who you are. It's not what you are. So what do you do with that when the money's not coming in? Like, I'll pitch next week's show a little early, Charlie. What do you do when there's a downturn? How do you survive that?
Right.
And for some people, Charlie, that's not a euphemism. That's how do you survive that? Because if you're wrapped into being a truck driver as your identity and you're unable to pay your bills, that is an existential mental health crisis.
Right.
And you know, like everybody else, we don't talk about it near enough, Charlie, because we're all alpha dogs out here.
Right.
Male, female, alpha dogs, right? We have no problems, but we do. And yeah, that's just part of the game. You know, we're always talking about the game, Charlie and I, the game of business. We just happen to be in the trucking business,
Right.
but it's all part of the game. How do you deal with these struggles? How do you deal with this income where literally like you take a good team like Charlie and Rosie. When you were out OTR, not so much at Target, you're pretty like this at Target.
Right.
But Charlie, you had those weeks that were $8,000-$9,000, and you had
Absolutely.
those weeks that were $200,
Right.
or
Those
even in the
suck.
negative,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no doubt.
High and low, high and low, high and low. So you're up here. So here's the pro tip: figure out what your medium is.
Right.
You know how I stress: pay attention to the month, the quarter, and the year. How did you do? This week to week stuff is kind of BS. You know, you pay attention to your weekly numbers just because you've got weekly goals.
Right.
But other than that, that's not what matters. What matters is that month. How did you do? Were you able to pay your bills that month? Yes or no?
Right.
Were you
Is there
able to put a
anything
little
left
bit of
over?
money away this quarter?
Right.
Yes or no? Or here's the thing, Charlie. You ready for this one?
Do it.
Were you able to pay your quarterly tax ticket?
Right. And that's a big one for a lot of people.
You know, I know that a lot of people, myself included, Charlie, don't pay taxes because of all the deductions we've got. You know, those of us with big families, especially. You know, I still have 3 kids at home, so I qualify for some things. You know, I get to claim them as deductions. We're not super poor, so we don't get earned income credit, but still, just the deduction lowers my tax burden by quite a bit.
Right.
On a typical year, Charlie, I'm going to break even on taxes.
Right.
If you can do that, you should have no stress, folks, on the tax side. Because again, that's part of the game, right?
Yeah.
I was having a bit of a debate with a guy, sort of, kind of, on the Facebooks.
The Facebooks.
Oh, I've been an owner operator for 6 years and I've never paid any tax. And you know what I said, Charlie? I bet you know what I said.
When's the audit?
No, I said that just means you're not making any money.
Oh yeah. My bad. Yeah, true enough.
You know, unless you're talking about he paid enough in his quarterlies to cover the bill, or he's got enough deductions to where the government thinks he's poor when he's not.
Right.
One of those two. You know, and you know, you can do things and get deductions, and you want to work with someone like CFO, trucker CFO, for this. Figure out what you can do to lower your tax burden.
Right.
You know, that is definitely the whole tax thing, Charlie. That is something I don't. Did you put that in there? I didn't see that if you put that in there or not. But the whole tax thing is definitely a source of frustration for people. You know, people make a lot of money on these tax resolution services. There's a reason for that, because it's stressful if you owe the government money, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So how do you know, Charlie, if you're starting to feel burnout? You've known me for a few years now. Have you figured out, Charlie, that once a year I tell everybody I'm going to quit? I'm
Right?
done. I'm
At
tired of
least.
this bullshit.
Yes.
Right?
At least.
I'm done. Screw it. Not making any money anyway. Right? And then usually what I'll do is I'll go home, spend some time with the family,
It's usually the
get away,
first step.
step away from the business for at least a week. Just step away.
Yeah. Don't make any decisions.
Right.
Don't make any phone calls to higher ups.
Right.
That's not the move.
Call Charlie. Call me. Call your best friend. Whatever.
Yes.
But don't call the higher ups at your carrier.
Yeah.
Unless you're done with your vacation, you're like, no, really, I'm done.
Right.
And that's a thing. But you know, again, if you want to play the game well, don't make major decisions when you're stressed out. Go take some me time. Whatever that looks like to you. For me,
Right.
it's going home, parking the truck, and not even. I don't park my truck at home anymore because there's no place for me to stash the trailer
Right.
at the carrier I'm at. They don't have yards around the country like Swift did. But I'll park it at the TA. And literally this last time I was home, Charlie, and you remember what happened last time I was home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually didn't even go out to the truck for 2 weeks. I was stressed that they might have towed me. Right. I didn't put it in a pay to park spot.
Yeah.
But you know, I just walked away from the business for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I made the decision once I came off my little pity party or whatever you want to call it. Oh, you know, I need to get back out on the road. Yes, I'm trying to get into a whole different business at this point.
Right.
But until that pans out, the smart thing to do is to do something that does what? Pays my bills.
Right. So the question for all of you, 2 questions. Have you ever felt burnout as a trucker? And I already know the answer to this because if you've been here more than a minute, you absolutely have. But how do you stay mentally strong in this thing that we do, especially as business owners? You know, I mean, and it goes for company drivers, whatever, you know, how do you stay focused and just keep doing it every day? You know, I mean, there's many ways we could all cope with it. You know, Jeff's touched on some. We'll touch on some more here in a little bit. But you know, how do you guys deal with it? You know, throw some of your stuff in the chat, and we'll come back and hit those again. But yeah, so let's go to how do we actually develop a winning mindset? You know, I'm gonna throw that at you, Jeff. That you're our mindset guru.
Yeah. So you know, it takes practice. First of all, don't think that you're just gonna all of a sudden change your own mind. One of the things I've told people in the past is, in many ways, you're trying to brainwash yourself. Okay. There's a couple of really good books out there, and I could get them to you guys in the groups if you want. Really fascinating people that have studied literally studied the occult and all that stuff, and how cults get people into their thing, right? And one guy in particular used to be an analyst for the Navy. Okay, so one of the, not a spook, but you know, pretty close.
Right.
He went and studied this stuff and said, "Hey, you know what? What if we use this stuff for good instead of evil?"
Right.
And it turns out that habit building is very much like what these weird culty people do.
Right.
So you're kind of brainwashing yourself a little bit. Don't be afraid of the brainwashing thing. It's just a word, okay? One of the things that I'm going to change something here a little bit, Charlie, because there's a saying in the personal development space that I think is almost true, but not quite, and that's reframing challenges as opportunities. I'm going to say You want to face your challenges head on. And that creates an opportunity.
Right.
A little bit different. But what are some of your, give me some challenges that you guys are having right now. Well, let's just go through some of this stuff.
Right.
If you've gone through some of the stuff that I've done on school, we started off with creating our vision. And then we had some training from Josh Hall on how to have the best year ever. And the next one that I'm going to do here coming up is going to be about it's kind of a roundup of all that stuff and how to put it into place in your daily life. But you start with your vision. Where do you want to be in 10 years? And you want to be as specific as possible. And that's going to inform when you want to set your personal and business goals. Because it's your 10-year vision, your 5-year goals, your 3-year goals, your 1-year goals, and then there's what are you doing every single day to get to those different waypoints in your map. It takes self-discipline and focus at first, but here's the magic of it, Charlie. Here's where kind of the brainwashing thing comes in. You need the self-discipline when you first start this stuff. I remember when I first started doing my journal exercises, Charlie, you know how I annoy the snot out of even you about that? Do your journal exercises. Do your journal exercises. When I first started, it was like, oh, okay, I just got up. Here's I have a morning routine. Okay, so I'm supposed to read something. Ugh, I don't want to read something. Then I'm supposed to journal. Ugh, I don't want to write my journal.
Right.
And then I'm supposed to go for a walk. I really don't want to go for a walk. But you know what? If you have the self-discipline and focus to do the things that you know you need to do, after a while it becomes a habit. And here's what happens once it becomes a habit, Charlie. You don't need self-discipline anymore.
Right.
You're on autopilot. Okay. So self-discipline is how you start. Building habits is how you finish. Make sense?
Absolutely.
So y'all know that I have a morning routine, which I'm hit and miss on like everybody else. I don't do it every day. Don't think that I'm Mr. Hey, I do everything all the time. I don't.
Correct.
Donna will be the first one to tell you that when I'm at home, I sleep longer than she does, and I don't take my walk because I'm tired. Okay. I can feel her going, yep. I'm on his case about it all the time. But, sleep, really tough in our business, Charlie. Sleep and diet. Those are the two things that are really tough.
For real.
Exercise routines, actually a little easier because all you got to do is park your truck in the back 40, which makes you walk to the building.
Right.
Believe it or not, that's enough exercise to keep most people from being so big that their truck thinks them when they get out. And you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Most of us are a little more rotund than we should be, myself included. But most truckers are not the stereotypical, diabetes legs. How did you even get a medical card guy?
Right.
And all we really do is walk. We park away from a building sometimes because we have to, because that's where the parking is. But we walk every day. We have to just to use the bathroom.
Right.
So I'm going to say use that for the little hit of I did something for myself.
Right.
You took a walk. Awesome. I think you should pat yourself on the back. And that's one of the things you need to do in order to build habits is celebrate every time you accomplish one of those things. While you're driving, Charlie, what do you do while you drive?
I listen the hell out of some radio, like audiobooks, business, entertainment. So I used to be nothing but business books, right? And I can't remember who it was that turned me on to something else. I don't know if it was you or one of our other guys, Jeff. Someone turned me on to some fiction, right?
I thought it was Skippy.
Yeah, it may have been the Skippy series.
And I think it was Matt that turned both of us onto that one.
Right. And that really, hey now, hey Sage, it's like a compulsion. But every time I see it. Anyhow, but yeah, I get into these audiobooks, and I was never a big fiction person. Like I wasn't. I mean, it was business, and I was fine with that. But I really slid and just, man, I face first deep dive into this fiction stuff, and I found a genre that I truly enjoy, right? And then I
Military
try to
sci-fi.
sprinkle in some business, right? And I should probably sprinkle in more business, but I don't. It's just whatever, man. It keeps my mind from
Charlie, you got
going
you got at least 3
crazy.
books that I've recommended in the last month.
Yeah.
One of them's really boring though. By the way, if you're going to recommend a business book to someone, folks, let us know that it's boring if it's boring. Some
Right.
of them just are.
Be upfront. Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with the narrator.
Right.
Like Charlie and I both love how this guy Donald Miller presents, but one of his audiobooks was not him reading it.
Right.
Boy, what a snooze fest that was.
Yeah. Yeah. Podcasts.
Mhm.
Love me some podcasts. There are a few out there that I enjoy. May or may not interest any of you, to be honest, because again, the podcasts that I tend to listen to are actually more about marketing. Because I'm trying to learn that. The building skills for coaching people, or podcasts about doing this, what we're doing right here, just trying to
Podcasts about
lay out our
podcasting.
shows a little better.
I'm not going to lie. I got really into Joe Rogan here recently.
Nice. Just fun to listen to. And
Well, the thing is
I love
he'll
the
talk to
conversation, yeah.
anybody. He'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And if he thinks you're full of crap, he will say so in a very nice way, but he'll challenge a guy.
Right.
It's hilarious. So role of work-life balance. You know what I'm going to say about this, Charlie.
I know.
You know what I'm
So,
going to say.
We have an opinion about the term work-life balance, but it was just easy to put it in this way, Jeff. You know.
I know, but it gave me an opportunity. It gave me an opening.
Absolutely. Dive in, face first, ready,
So,
go.
yeah. So my take is that work-life balance, the way most people think about it, is a lie. Doesn't exist.
Right.
Because what most people think of, oh yeah, I need to spend 8 hours at work, 8 hours with my family, and 8 hours of sleep. Never going to happen.
Good luck.
In order to become a better person, in order to grow a business, you're going to have to sacrifice something. In order to have a good family life, you're going to have to sacrifice something. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another. So
Right.
what we've learned to do is to live in seasons. Right now, Charlie and I are in a season of growth. We're growing our businesses, multiple businesses right now. That's taking a lot of time away from our family.
A ton.
It's a sacrifice. But you know what? That season's not going to last forever, Charlie.
Right.
We're going to get to a point to where we're back to working, our regular work week,
Right.
just doing something different and spending a whole lot more time with our families.
And I get to run around saying, "Hey now."
That's right. Nobody's going to listen, but yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, so making time. And I do like that one, Charlie. Make time for family and relationships. Because you have to. Right? Again, sometimes you're sacrificing family time to grow your business. But you really, really need to be able to and be willing to sacrifice your business time to grow your family.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yep.
And it is a conscious decision. One of the things I love that Brendan Burchard teaches, and he actually is one of those weirdos that does everything that he talks about in his books.
Hate those kind of people. Oh.
Yeah, they're weird. But he literally, whenever he enters a room, he takes a pause, and in his mind he says, "I am here for this."
Right. Look, that's important.
And I started doing that a little bit, Charlie. Again, not 100%, but it makes a difference in how you feel about your day.
Right.
That you're in there on purpose. You're there by choice. You're doing this thing. And when you leave, you're going to do something else.
Look, it's like right before the show, especially on a day like today, like Jeff and I are just drained, right? You know, this week's been challenging for both of us in different ways and all that kind of thing. And I mean, Jeff and I, you know, we talked for a few minutes before the show, in the studio while we're, you know, setting everything up. And we're like, God, man, we're dragging today. I mean, you couldn't even see that Jeff's eyes. He was stooped so far down in his bunk back there earlier. Right. And we're just like, man, this is going to be a rough one. And typically what I do is right before we go live,
you blow your nose.
I blow my nose. I go pee. I come back. I shake everything off and I focus. I tell everybody in the house, I'm going to the show. I'll see you when I get back. Right? Because that's where my mind is. I'm coming to this. I'm coming to you all. I'm joining all of you here. Our tens and tens of people. And I got to make it all about this. I mean, every now and then, you know, one of the grandkids will walk in and throw me off my little game or whatever, or we'll get sidetracked by a comment, something like that. But for the most part, I am here. I am focused. I am present in doing this thing right here, right now. Right? When I'm going back to the family, Jeff will tell you, and Jeff does the same thing. We have to separate that. And there's going to be those hours where I spend with just the family. I mean, I'll leave my damn phone on the desk and walk away and can't hear it, put it on do not disturb, whatever I have to do, because it's become that important to me. I was meshing them all together for quite some time. And that was creating just not anything good on either side of anything.
And it's important to let whoever your partners, friends, work-related people are, that they know what your boundaries are. Right. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about setting boundaries between work and personal life.
Absolutely.
But like Charlie and I had a conversation not too long ago. It was just a couple months ago, because I was spending more time at home again. And I told him, don't call me on Sunday. Sunday's family day.
Right.
And you had a great follow-up question. He's like, so nothing on Sunday at all? I'm like, no, nothing on Sunday. So you know what? Charlie doesn't call me on Sunday.
Jeff calls
had
me
that conversation
occasionally on Sundays.
Only if I'm already working.
But I don't call him. I will call him back if he calls me, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So, you know, make sure that the people that you work with and your family both know what those boundaries are. Because unless you communicate that, they're going to push those boundaries. And what about routines, Charlie? What kind of routines can you think of for truckers? Because again, we live a really weird life, bro.
Yeah.
And just that word routine probably scares a lot of people because we don't have a set schedule.
You know, I don't think this is going to be routines as some people think them to be, right? I'm going to throw this little graphic up. You know, we've talked about some of this. You know, setting your daily goals to stay focused, right? Maintaining a constant sleep schedule, a consistent sleep schedule, as best you can in our lives. Let's be real. Eating nutritious meals, staying hydrated. Look, I'm guilty of the hydrated thing because I drink Mountain Dew Zero all day.
It has water in it.
That's what my thought, but you know, whatever.
According to the Mayo Clinic, according to the Mayo Clinic, Charlie, your cup of coffee in the morning does count as your daily water intake. Well,
there you go.
So there you go.
Taking breaks to avoid fatigue, staying connected with family and friends. This is an important one. I think this is an important one. You got to find people you can talk to on a regular basis. Right? This is going to be key to helping you maintain your mental health, honestly, you know.
And I'm going to interject something here, Charlie.
Yep.
If you're married, you need a friend that's not your spouse to talk to.
Absolutely.
That you trust. I have two or three friends that I could talk about my marriage with.
Right.
And Donna also knows these people, and she's down with it. You know, don't go talking to her behind your spouse's back per se, but you know, sometimes you need to ask another person, hey, what do I do with this?
Right.
This thing's happening. I don't have good feelings.
Yeah. Do you think I was right when I said this?
Yeah. We're not saying what I've said before that wasn't
okay.
Right. but yeah, have those friends that you can call. Interestingly enough, almost all my friends at this point are drivers.
Right.
Because I've been a driver for so long, right? So it's kind of interesting. I have a couple that aren't, but most of them are drivers at this point.
Listening to motivational podcasts and audiobooks. I'm going to
Yes.
pick back up on our list a little bit here. Chime in whenever, Jeff. Practice mindfulness and stress management. Mindfulness is one of those magical things out there that sounds very woo-wee-woo, right? I'm telling you, if you can find someone in the mindfulness realm that resonates with you, they have the speaking voice that is calming to you and can guide you through actually getting you focused on the right things and out of the negativity. I'm telling you, it's a game changer, you know.
Yeah, just even Charlie, you and I were talking about this the other day. We both do breathing exercises.
Yes.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Well, I'm telling you, it works. It helps with the stress."
Right.
But like with coaches, which what we do, you know, find someone that you're going to listen to. That's the key. You know, a lot of this stuff is finding someone that resonates with you. You know, I mean, even with Charlie and I, it's no secret. Some people think I'm an idiot and they listen to Charlie. Other people are like,
Right.
"Oh, that idiot, that Charlie dude, he just doesn't know what he's talking about," and they listen to me. We say the same darn things. Like, if you were to break down our words, they have the same exact meanings.
Right.
We just say things differently. So find the person that speaks your language that you're going to listen to,
Right.
and then listen to that person. I really like, I keep bringing him up. I really like Brendan Burchard's stuff. I find it very motivational to listen to his podcast on personal development. Some people are big Tony Robbins fans, and I don't mind Tony, but the dude is a 6'3" tall giant that talks really loud and yells at people. So
Right.
it's not really my bag.
Yeah.
Other people will listen to him and go conquer the world. Me, I'm like, you're a blowhard.
For real. But so just to progress this, little light exercise and stretching. We kind of talked about that, right? I need to stretch more. I really need to actually look 30 seconds, a minute before I climb back in the truck after, one of my pit stops, right? Because Lord knows at 53, I have to stop every 2 hours to pee, whatever. God, annoying. Keeping a positive mindset and avoiding negativity. I have cut a ton of negativity and negative people out of my life. Some of them I love deeply and dearly. I had to remove or silence them on Facebook. Not remove. I don't really remove people. What I do is I put them on kind of a timeout, and I don't see their posts very often, which is nice. Because instead of, seeing every negative thing they have to say about anything, and sometimes they're negative to both sides of whatever topic it is, whatever. I just it's too much. I am one of those people that draws off of those around me. And if I'm in a negative circle, it's straight down the tubes for me, man. So I need to be around people who are more positive or mindful or creative. I love to be around creative people, man. When Jeff and I get in these creative modes, and we'll just fire. But we gotta get in that creative mindset together, right? But here's the important part right here.
Each other.
Yeah, here's an important part. You need to reward yourself for those small achievements that you make in getting this going. And like Jeff said with the breathing exercise, it kind of feels a little silly at first, here you are. All right, now let's breathe in through the nose. Hold. out through the mouth. Right? You feel silly. I always did, but it actually helps with my migraines. It helps lessen them. It doesn't make them go away, but it does help lessen them because it gets my mind off of the negative, which is the migraine and the pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And focuses my attention to actually breathing, and breathing in through your nostrils is actually better than breathing in through your mouth. For whatever reason, your body absorbs more of the pure oxygen through your nostrils, through your nasal passages, than you do through using your mouth, which is why they say breathe in through your nose. Hold it. Let it out. Let it out through your mouth. And I'm telling you, if you start doing this on a regular basis, when you start feeling stress in your neck, your shoulders, your back, right? Focus on that. Give yourself a minute or two to just breathe. Something just as simple as breathing can clear your mind, can take away the negativity, can get your focus off of that into something that's actually going to help you.
Yeah.
If you focus on the negative, you're going to stay in the negative. Look away, steer away. We've talked about this in past shows.
Right.
Don't look at the thing you don't want. Look at the thing you want. Move towards that thing. If you stare at that bad thing all day long, all night long, every day, day in and day out, you're going to get that thing that you don't want. And that's just real. So, what do you guys do to stay focused and motivated on the road? I mean, what are some of the things that you guys are doing on a regular basis? And if you got nothing, hey, tell us. I got nothing, man. That's where my struggle is. That's I can't get my mind right,
Right.
But this kind of leads us into the next part of this, and it's the power of community and support networks, right? Why none of us should ever try to go this alone, right, Jeff? I mean,
Yeah.
We have a huge community of a lot of like-minded type people. These are people that a lot of them are people that want to build a business, expand a business, maintain a good level of business, maintain a healthy social life, whatever the hell that is, right? But I mean, find these people, whether they're in our group, whether it's another group, what have you, right? Other drivers, people that are into maybe a hobby that you like, give them a call, reach out, make sure you're able to talk about these things.
Yeah, Charlie, I belong to both a Warhammer community and a Western Star community.
Oh, you got the Western Star in. But look, there, that's good, man. But there is a real danger of isolation and mental fatigue, and
as far as community goes, Charlie, I follow quite a few people, and some people with more interest than others. But I just watched a guy that has been coming in real strong. I'm going to be a fleet owner. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I saw a post from him the other day that just broke my heart. No, I don't think I want to be a fleet owner anymore. I'm just going to focus on this. And I'm like, why, dude? What changed? Because your vision shouldn't have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's going to take you longer than you thought. But I guarantee you that if he was in our community, we'd be coaching him on, look, dude, don't give up on that dream of being a fleet owner. If that's what you want to do, let's work on that. But another thing about this individual, Charlie, is he is in our Contractors Corner Swift group, by the way. I'll call him out that much. But he does post, but he doesn't engage.
Right.
You got to engage, right? If you're going to put a question out there to the group, go back into Facebook or school or wherever the group is and look at what the responses are, and then be like, that's a really good point. I never thought of that. Another one. So how did you get your second truck? Some guy has 5 trucks already, and he's saying, hey, dude, it's worth it. Okay, well, I'm stuck. Can you help me?
Right.
Absolutely. But you got to be engaging. You can't just put something up and then forget about it.
Right.
That's not how community works, guys. So yeah, I had to bring that up. I know you don't like talking about that sort of stuff, Charlie, but
No.
it's a good object lesson. Here's a guy really hit it out of the gate, and I was like, this guy's either gonna fall on his face or he's gonna do something great. Let's see. I'm watching him,
Right.
and he's already discouraged, and I know exactly what it is, Charlie. He's been an owner operator for a couple months now. He's been slapped in the face by reality. Slap, bam, get back down there, because that's what happens that first year or so, right? You're learning. You're gonna get discouraged. But if you're in a part of a community of people that are going to help support you, they can tell you that that's what happened. You got smacked by reality, dude. Sorry, it happens to all of us.
Right.
But
Yeah.
isn't your vision the same? So what if it's going to take you 4 or 5 years instead of next week?
Right. Right.
I love what one a religious leader that I respect said about this sort of thing. He was talking about education, but it also is applicable to this. He's talking to his grandson, and this guy is a world-class heart surgeon. Pioneered a lot of the surgeries that they use as standard today. And his grandson wanted to be a surgeon. And he was talking to grandpa about it. Well, what do I need to do to become a surgeon? He was in his undergrad work at the time in pre-med. It's like, well, you got to do residency, then you got to do this, and you got to do that. So to become a surgeon, it's another 10 years or more of school.
Right.
And his grandson was like, man, that's just too long. And you know what this man said to his grandson? How old will you be in 15 years if you don't pursue your education? The same age.
Right.
So I would say to this young man, how old are you going to be in 10 years if you don't build a fleet? 10 years older, but without a fleet. Or you could buck up, get in the community, get some support, get some ideas on how to do this thing from people that have already done it. I made the conscious decision not to do a fleet because employees. Hello.
Right. Yeah.
Charlie, you had a fleet.
Yep. Pain
So
in my backside.
Right. Other guys in the group, they have fleets, small fleets. There's absolutely opportunity to get help. And that's what community is for. You got people out there with more experience than you that you can learn from, and you've got people out there with less experience than you that need your help.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, you need to build that strong support network, online trucking communities, mastermind groups. If you don't know what a mastermind group is, look, we can talk to you for hours about a mastermind group, especially Jeff. Jeff will talk your ear off. That's something we're working on. The importance of mentorship in trucking, right? So I love
mentorship.
This is how I got to where I am now. I like teaching new drivers, and then I no longer enjoyed that aspect of it because of the company, right? And I had to find another way. And I thought, hey, I can help guys who want to become an owner operator and they're struggling and they want to do better. I have some ways that I've gotten past some of these mistakes. I can share those mistakes, and by sharing those mistakes, maybe they don't have to make the same ones the same way I did. So and then connecting with fellow truckers, drivers, and business owners to stay motivated. Use each other. Jeff and I do this constantly. We razz each other. We used to have kind of a competition every week. Whose net revenue per mile was better this week. And gosh, he beat me by 0.5 cent. And man, I'm coming back strong next week. I'm gonna do 47 miles an hour everywhere I go. And then he'd still beat me by 0.5 cent or a penny. I'm like, dang it. It was, but you know what? It kept me innovating.
Friendly competition.
My business. Right. And so hopefully you guys can find people like that that you're working with and sharing with, but you got to be able to share the good and the bad, because the good and the bad are what help motivate each of you. Right. If you're just sharing, oh, this is my best settlement ever, Well, okay, great. What's the real story behind that? What were the 3 before it, right? Let me help you there. Maybe there's something you can do to fix those a little bit better. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like this, but learning those lessons from successful, trucking entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general, they're these people, the people that are in the top of this field, they have strong trucking networks, and it helps keep them sharp, right? And it's because they're keeping people around them that are helping them stay motivated and moving forward,
Right. Well, like the guys over at ES are a
right.
prime example, Charlie. They have a yearly get together. They switched it up a little bit, so it's different than it used to be, but we've been invited to 2 of them so far. And what I've learned from going to these things is that the contractors, the owner operators, they get their trucks from ES and they lease to one of their preferred carriers. The people that are showing up to these events, Charlie, we learned so much about the expedited business
Oh yeah.
in those couple of days we spent with those people, because you know what? You get them talking about their businesses and they won't shut up.
Right.
We had one couple that was literally following us around the hotel talking to us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We didn't mind, but it was like
Right.
they just really wanted to talk about their business and what they were going to do next.
Yeah, it's a trip because I mean, typically, you guys know, you've seen it all in the truck stops. The truck stops are a terrible place for this. Everybody's negative and, or it's super trucker this or that, right? And it's their way, that's it. Whatever. When you find a good solid community, it's success stories, it's the oh crap stories, right? But they're told in a way that you're learning something from it typically. Or you have the ability to say, oh, that's a nugget I didn't know about. Let me pick that one out and put it in my pocket. Let me pick this one out and put that one in my pocket. I don't want to do these 2 things right here, right? But, the benefits of building a strong network for your mental health, reduces feelings of isolation and loneliness, right? Provides emotional support and encouragement. Helps manage stress and avoid burnout. Gives you someone to talk to on the road. Keeps you motivated. And here's the important part. Accountable.
Yes, accountability is a big part.
Well, I'm going to come back to accountability, but it also creates a sense of community and belonging, and being a part of something is what most people's minds usually gravitates to. A sense of community, a sense of belonging to this thing. The biggest problem I've ever had in my life is when I left the military. I felt like I was no longer a part of that community. It was so crazy for me that I was just completely lost, right? I mean, it changed my life, my thought process. I felt worthless. I felt all these things that were just not good, right? And that leads to depression or anxiety or, a lot of other things. And finding people you can talk to and share stories with, things like that, super important. It's super important for your mental health, and it's super important for your business. If you can start managing these things in the proper way, and the proper way is not the way I say to do it or the way Jeff says to do it or the way Hamey says it. The proper way is what's working, what will work for you, but you need to be willing to try some things to find what's going to work for you. But holding each other accountable, that's a big thing in our community as well. And look, Jeff and I get held accountable by the community itself, by each other, by our spouses, by, the partners we work with and everything else. You need to share your goals, your ideas, and your thoughts, your feelings, emotional outbursts, and all that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. And by the way, Don, we'll get to that question after the break.
Yeah, I got it started. But they can't. Your group can't hold you accountable if they don't know what your intentions, your thoughts, your goals are. Right. So you need to share those things.
Yeah, you have to be a little vulnerable.
Right.
It's not a comfortable thing for us human beings to do that.
But yeah, like Craig said, accountability is key. Absolutely, sir. it's so important, because if you've got someone checking on you behind you, and even Ida, hey, but even, just finding people. Craig said, donate it to him, Amy. God, we got to come back to that. Finding people to talk to, people that you can kind of download with, reciprocate that, hey man, it was a rough day. This is kind of how I'm getting through it. How's your day going? Oh, you had a rough day too. All right. So, what can we do to maybe change it tomorrow? Hey man, do me a favor. Call me tomorrow at noon and let's find 5 things positive by noon in our day, right? Little things like that, little changes like that help change your mindset. At least, I don't know, Jeff, what are your thoughts on this, man? Am I on the right track here? I feel like I am.
I think you nailed it, bro.
Nice. There's just so much that we can talk about on this, questions for the audience. I like this little piece that we built here. I'm going to post these questions, and I'd like you guys to kind of chime in. Maybe you've answered some of them. I'm going to put them up here one by one. Let's see. Can you read that, Jeff?
What's the biggest mental challenge you face as a trucker? I know for me, it's that I've been out here for 20 years. I never anticipated being out here for 20 years, but it's getting a little hard to be away from the wife.
Right.
It gets a little harder every day.
No, and I can absolutely dig that, I'm lucky in that, I managed to get Rosie to come work with me, but I miss my grandkids and my kids tremendously. I miss my damn dogs. My dogs look at me like, oh my gosh, you're home. Thank you. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. Good night. And I feel bad. Right? You know what I mean? And then when I get in here, I forget to go out in the backyard and play with them. And it makes me feel terrible. So, that's one of the things I want to work on. I need to go spend some time with my dang dogs, man. So yeah, the first question, what's the biggest mental challenge you face as a trucker? The next one's going to be, how do you handle stress and burnout on the road? And then our last question of the day is, what's your best tip for staying motivated in trucking? Do us a favor, after the live ends, if you wouldn't mind, I'll post these questions I'll pin these questions in a comment at the top of the comment section afterwards. Go through and answer those. Share some of this stuff, because maybe we get some viewers, because we get quite a few viewers that don't comment at all, but we've got 100, 200, whatever, maybe 80 in a week, maybe 300 in a week, I don't know, that are watching, that are watching the shows, but they don't chime in, they don't share, you know what I mean? So do that for us. Go down there in the comments after the show, because if you post it in the comments right now, it doesn't show, right? Post it down there and keep that conversation going. But look, I'm going to do our thing here. Let me pull this little graphic down, because all right. Excuse me. Let me change that. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll put that one across the bottom. But at Road Warrior Entrepreneurs, we help truckers stay sharp, focused, and motivated for long-term success. If you're serious about taking control of your mindset and business, join us at www.rwedrive.com and let's help you stay on the top of your game. So with that being said, we're going to pop out of here for just a second. We'll be right back, like 50 seconds, y'all. Bear with us as soon as I find the button. Bam. You're either running your business like an owner or like an employee. And if you're stuck in that employee mindset, you're leaving money on the table. Company drivers wait for direction. Business owners create opportunities. Company drivers chase miles and just drive. Business owners chase profits and know their numbers. Want to run a real business? Start tracking your numbers. Know your cost per mile and start saying no to bad loads. Drop "I run a business" in the comments if you're done thinking like an employee. If you want to take this mindset shift further, join the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs community at www.rwedrive.com, where we have profit boosting strategies, coaching calls, and real road warriors winning together.
Charlie's rocking out.
Right? I don't know. I've always loved that little jingle, man. It resonated with me when we first started this stuff, and I was like, yeah.
There you go.
Ugh. But yeah, so that's kind of our spiel for the day, fellas and ladies and what have yous. That was terrible. If you guys want to talk about anything else, by all means, start it up there in the chat, and we'll dip into that stuff. I want to go back to Hamey. Let's throw that question up, Jeff. Jeff Charley, what's the best thing to do on my 16 Freightliner? Sell it or donate it so I can get tax credit for donating it? What do y'all suggest? What are your thoughts?
First
Jeff?
of all, you're not going to get a tax credit for that truck, even if you do donate it. You know why, Charlie?
Depreciation.
Because you're already depreciated down to zero, right?
I hope
you did. So that truck has a zero value for your business right now. If you sell it, you're going to have to pay capital gains on it. If you donate it, you don't pay anything, but you're also not going to get credit because you already depreciated the entire value of the truck.
Right.
My question is, what's wrong with it? Maybe put a driver in it. Paid for a truck, you can pay a little bit more than what someone with a lease can.
Right.
Pay like 80% of profits. Something like that. So I'm interested to know what's wrong with the truck. Like my 16 is the transmission. If I got it fixed, it'd be roadworthy again. So there's possibility that I could, if I fix the interior to be more in line, not my custom job I did, but more traditional sleeper, I could probably lease it on a Panther and put a team in it. Right. And again, paid for truck, right?
Yeah. Low insurance costs.
And
low
most guys on the contracts here at Panther are doing a 60-40 split with their drivers. So the driver pays for fuel, so they get 100% of the fuel surcharge. They're also paying their own OCAC, which that's just an expense. And then it's a 60-40 split on the line haul. And varying deals depending on which owner you work with on any bonus pay and stuff like that.
Right.
So
Amy said it's the transmission repair around $12K, same thing as you, Jeff.
Okay, so let's say you got the transmission done then. Since it came from Swift, you could probably lease it back on at Swift. At least that's what I was told about my 16, even though it's 1 year past the thing, it came from Swift. So there's a deal to be made there. My guess is if you pull an oil sample off the engine, make sure the engine's solid. In your position, Don, I would say in your position in particular, right, spend the 12 grand, get the transmission fixed, and put a team in that truck. Husband and wife team.
That'd be the best.
A Charlie and Rosie.
And you could add value to that team if you really wanted to. And think about this, Don. You could teach them what you know already about business. Right?
Mileage doesn't matter with a paid for truck, Don. Traditionally, they want, right now they're saying trucks 2017 or newer. But again, it came from Swift, right? So I'm thinking there's a deal to be made.
Yeah, they may ask you to jump through a couple of extra hoops, but I mean, in the end, it may be worth it.
Yeah. Something to explore.
A whole nother revenue line.
If not, I would probably sell it as is, but you're probably going to get about $5,000-$6,000 for it.
Right.
If it's got a $12,000 transmission that needs to be done. The used truck market right now is just terrible.
Yeah.
And I know we get raspberries from some people about this selling insurance thing, but that's one of the things about the insurance program that we came up with was that it covers the gap. So like right now, Don, on your brand new Western Star, the used truck market has gone poof. So you owe this to the bank.
Right.
It's worth this. You want that gap covered.
Right.
So as long as you're not a mentor, I can't remember, does Amy mentor or is he a solo guy? I can't remember.
No, he's solo.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure you got the seat right on that thing because you want that gap covered.
Yeah, Craig said a good thing. Put that truck on a dedicated account.
Yeah, dude. The dedicated account in Grandview, Washington. There was a dude that was there with an FLD in 2010.
Yep. We had a guy at McClenny Walmart that had an old FLD with like 7-8 million miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
That good Lord, that truck. Ida could tell you that man's name. I can't remember his name. She's still here. She could tell you. I kept trying to buy his truck. He wouldn't sell it to me. He's like, I'm gonna die in this truck, and he probably did for all I know. Or he's still out there trucking in that dang thing. He probably got 10 million miles on it now. But that guy was awesome.
Went forever. You could do like 2-3 M frames on that thing.
Oh, it's an old Pete, Mr. Jude. Yes, dude.
Oh,
he had that thing forever, and I mean forever. And I kept trying to get it from him. I'm like, I'll buy it from you. Come on, don't you want to retire? He's like, heck no.
Right here in Opelika, when I was doing a search for them, there was a guy there with an old Pete, and he had been there for 3 carriers. Swift was just the latest carrier.
Mr. Jude was one of those guys.
He has transferred his lease to Swift when when Swift took over the account. But that old Pete's been paid for a decade.
Mm-hmm. Look, man, and I mean, it wasn't the most economical fuel mileage truck, but his overhead really wasn't that bad on it. I mean, even keeping up with everything, he saved that the rebuilds on that thing were like next to nothing, or a crate motor were next to nothing. Yep, had an old cat in it. Yeah, he drove for Great Wide first, and stayed there. Like when Swift left, I tried to talk him into coming, out to somewhere else in Swift. He's like, heck no, I'll probably stay here. I don't honestly know what happened to him. Ida might be able to tell you. But I'm willing to bet he stayed there and just kept doing his thing because he was happy doing it, and he did just fine, man. That guy was doing great.
And those are the guys you want to talk to, by the way.
For real.
Yeah, everybody wants to debate, oh, why would you pay a truck off? Ask Mr. Jude why he paid his truck off. How much money
he actually retired.
Oh, wow.
I don't believe it. Yeah, he was
85. Holy smokes.
Dude, he was so much fun to talk to.
My oldest student was 80.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That'd be interesting. See, I would just be like trolling him for life lessons.
He did 30 years at Werner.
Wow.
Retired. 10 years later, his wife got the cancer.
Oh.
And Medicare wasn't enough to pay for it, so he had to go back to work.
Man, that sucks.
Came to Swift. And because it was so long, he had to do the mentorship again.
Right.
This dude mentored for longer than I've been driving.
Right.
Unfortunately, he fell and hurt himself on our first run.
Oh, no.
And was in the hospital for like 2 weeks. His Swift was like, yeah, no.
Oh, well, maybe he made enough workers' comp to
It was a workers' comp claim,
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I took him home, because it was one of those things where Dave's like, no, you bring him back now.
Right.
80-year-old guy.
Before he breaks his hip, dang it.
His knee's swollen and he's bleeding, all that stuff. So I'm bringing him up. His wife meets us at the terminal in Troutdale. And man, she just reminded me of my grandma.
Oh,
this little 80-year-old woman. What did you do to my husband?
Right.
Well, I shoved him down the stairs because he was being ornery. And she goes, good for you, son. Good for you.
Right. Sounds right. Probably needed it. Old ornery cuss. But yeah, so gosh, I don't know, Don. I think we've given you some ideas. I really would think about, if you think it's worth it to yourself, or maybe you meet the right team out there, the right couple. It could be pretty lucrative for them, and you can teach them a business while you're doing it. You know what I mean? You could pay out 70-80% of truck net, teach them how to run a lean truck, maintain it, those sort of things. Since, it's a paid for truck, you can do a lot of work yourself. You find someone that's mechanically inclined. Oh man, bonus, right?
Yeah.
16s are a little harder to work on than, say 06, 07, which you're a little harder to work on than 02, right? But man, if you can keep running,
the 99 Series 60 seems to be the sweet spot,
right?
From everything I know about wrenching, which isn't much, mind you.
99, 2000, 2001, 2002, all pretty much the same motor. 03 was that EGR year.
Yep.
Was it EGR?
Yeah, EGR.
Yeah, EGR.
DPF came in 07.
Right.
Because you remember, you got an 06 truck without DPF, but mine came with DPF because technically it was an 07.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because half of the 07s were no DPF, half of them had DPF. So I made out good on that, and just
and I did not.
Did an ugly fix for my EGR, and just saying, whatever, it works. Hey DJ, what's up, buddy? But yeah, those 99 to 01, 02, 02, 03 was the transition years. So some of them are wonky, but no EGR, right? And a lot of those motors, if you can find parts now, finding parts for them now is a little harder. But man, if you can find the parts for them, those things will run forever too. That's like with my 07. My motor's still solid. My problem is the seals between the motor levels, all the main seals and all that, they're just done for. So I need to pull the whole dang thing out. And if you're going to do that, might as well rebuild everything. I mean, let's be real, because if you're going to take the time and labor to do that, just do everything. And I just don't have the money to invest in it the way that I would want to do it.
You actually talked to Pittsburgh Power about it, and it was going to take like 6-9 months to even do it.
Oh yeah, because of the parts problems.
Because this was right at the height of COVID.
Yep. And we were talking 60 or 70 grand. For what's now.
Yeah, I believe.
On the truck now is $5 grand, maybe.
I believe we were talking to Bruce himself about it when we were inviting him on the show that first time. And he's like, "Gosh, it's almost worth it to just put a crate motor in it." In fact, with some of them, that's what they were doing. It was cheaper to put a crate motor in than to rebuild the old one,
right?
On some of these engines, and it had to do with the availability of parts.
Yeah, exactly, Craig. It'll spit oil, but it'll run. Yes, sir. Yeah. Don said on day one with his Western Star, he had a Seabright. The only good thing is he put $62,000 down, no balloon payment, and on his Western Star. Yeah. So he and keep in mind, y'all, he did this running a leased IEL truck.
Yep.
And got to the point where he walked in and put that kind of money down on a Western Star.
Yep.
Just saying. It took discipline. It took building systems, following routines, right? Setting goals, tracking those goals, holding himself accountable, all these things. He did all those things.
All the things.
He's like a poster child of what to do right. Great person to reach out to and talk to about this stuff. How did you do it, man? How did you do it? He'll talk to you. Pleasant dude. I dig talking to him, Oh, I just said anyone in Oklahoma, west of OKC, the weather is going to be rough most of the night. Dude, this week was a crazy weather week down here in the Southeast.
Yeah. So was it 2 nights ago, Charlie?
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever heard a real emergency alert.
No, that was last night.
Was that last night? Okay.
Yeah, before you went to bed.
Yeah.
That's why it was 2 nights
So that
ago for you.
you know what was going through my mind with that alert though, Charlie? I'm like, this better not be an invasion because I'm like 2,000 miles away from home.
Right?
I guess I better start going to Charlie's house.
Yeah, you were close enough, man. We could have did some stuff, Jeff. Just saying. And we could have done something. Yeah, tornadoes or a lot of tornado warnings. I don't know what the confirmation was on how many tornadoes between Atlanta, Enterprise, Dothan, Alabama, over there by Auburn, the Panhandle of Florida, over near Mariana, right down through the bottom portion of through Macon, all that stuff. I was running hard, man, foot on the floor, trying to get the heck away from Atlanta. Then we found traffic, so no more foot on the floor, and we're just plucking along.
Yeah,
And
Covington is where I was at when I got the alert, and it was
Yeah.
a shelter. It was a shelter now alert.
Yep. Yeah, there was a lot of those. So we had tornado warnings come in kind of right behind us. We had a delivery in Peachtree City, then East Point, Georgia. Both of those spots ended up with tornado warnings. We left East Point, which is for those of you who know the Atlanta area, exit 2 on I-285 is where East Point is. Hit 285, got on 75 southbound, and just tried to get the heck out of Dodge, man. And we got down to around mile marker 198, and there's trees, big, tall trees, because they've really cleared the shoulder down 75. They've been pushing all those trees back to create more space. Still had trees out in the right lane, blocking the lane. Those guys were out there with their chainsaw, just mashing it all up. It was nice to see. Made for tough travel.
So Don's got a better warranty than Swift.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
So did you have to pay for an extended warranty on that, or was that standard for the Western Star? I'm curious. Because the more premium brands sometimes have those little cookies in there.
So I was talking about, it was crazy. It's the first time that she actually had to shut people down while on their deliveries. Basically, our entire delivery area was under a tornado warning at some point or another yesterday. It was crazy. She calls me, she reaches out, and I'm like, yeah, I just left East Point. I'm standing on the pedal of the floor. I'm just trying to get out of here. I figure if I go faster, I'm going to be okay. She's like, I can't deal with you. I'm like, I'm going to go see me a tornado. She's like, you need to, But to my credit and Rosie's credit, we did adult yesterday, and we actually decided that there was a warning coming through just south of Macon. We had a backhaul that we had to pick up in Macon. We actually stopped at the rest area just north of Macon on 75, right before the 475 split. And we decided, to heck with it. We're going to take a nap, and we relaxed for an hour. Waited for all that weather to go by. Went down there, got to our backhaul. Turns out the load wasn't even ready then. Had to wait another half hour for them to finish loading the trailer, which worked out great. Just took a little time out of the day. I mean, it extended our day. We didn't get home till like 1 o'clock this morning. But Jeff and everybody else should be proud of me, because you guys know I'm a little bit of a risk taker. I like to gamble sometimes, right? And I am fascinated by tornadoes. But I decided it was time to shut down. So, Ida shutting people down, I think, was a good idea, because look, if I'm shutting down, there's a lot of people that probably should that won't. And it's unfortunate. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a risk taker, more so when I'm solo, because I like the challenge.
I remember back when I was running a lot of I-80, Charlie, I was like that. If I shut down, nobody should be driving.
Right.
And I would shut down and let Dana know, hey, I'm shutting down. This is really, really not safe out here.
Right.
And 10 minutes later, we get the message from terminal management.
Right.
Please shut down if you're on I-80 in Wyoming right now.
Yeah. It's fun being the one that they're like, hey, oh my God, he shut down. We need to get everybody parked.
So $3,000 for the extended warranty on all of that. That's not bad, Charlie.
Yeah. Right. Takes it from
500. I know.
50.
Yeah, because I know there's extended warranty packages out there that cost at least 3 times that.
Yeah,
and only take you up to like $550. So
that's a solid
you got
deal.
a good deal on that. Yeah.
So back to the weather
just
thing.
remember,
ahead.
Don, at 300,000 miles, what you're going to do, you're going to take that truck to a DPF alternatives shop, and you're going to do the $2,500 service on it. And that's where they take the entire box off and clean everything and put it back on. DPF filters, everything. If you can prove that you're using max mileage in that truck from then forward, you have a lifetime warranty on that DPF. Lifetime. And Charlie, you recently stopped using max mileage, and what happened to your
my fuel mileage started dropping. It sucked.
Yeah.
It was a bummer.
That could just be that your DPF is getting clogged up faster too.
Yep.
That
More
could just be
regens.
why. So yeah, I mean, that particular product, guys, we haven't talked about it in a while, and we have no affiliation with them other than we like it. It's an additive. I'm not typically a fan of additives, guys.
It's a catalyst.
Right. It's a true catalyst. I'm not going to try and explain what exactly it does, but here's the effect of it: is it keeps your DPF and your EGR cleaner, so you have less problems with them and less regens. DPF alternatives, they do an awesome clean on that DPF. They'll bring it back to factory spec or better.
Right.
And if you're in the Contractors Corner group, I think it's still up in the stickies, isn't it? Those pictures of mine before and after. You want to go in and check those out. They literally brought it back to better than factory spec with that clean. And it's a chemical clean. It's not a bacon banging on the side thing like the dealerships do.
Right.
It's an actual chemical clean.
Don said he's been using max mileage since day one. He'll take a picture of the DPF because Charlie lost his DPF filter by a terminal. Exactly, Don. Thank you, brother, for refreshing that wound of mine. Grr.
I remember when Charlie used to say that he would never, ever, 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 ever buy a brand new truck again.
Bro, what is wrong with you?
What?
I've had it with you. I don't even know what he's talking about anymore. Whatever.
I don't know. Airbag videos?
Oh my God! You're just grinding salt in there everywhere. Get it out of your system, sir. Get it out of your system.
That's all I got.
He said, "I'll take a picture before they clean it, so we have evidence. What is the difference between using max mileage?" Yeah, absolutely. Look, so I think that it's probably going to look pretty good, provided the DPF doesn't crack. That seems to be a thing lately, from what I've been seeing. Even the Swift shop was telling me that Freightliner's been seeing a lot of them cracking at around that 300,000 mile mark.
Right.
So, I mean, if it's cracked, you're screwed. But it's under warranty, so it doesn't cost you anything, just downtime. So I don't know. I don't know what's causing these cracks, honestly. So I don't know, man. I'd love some more detail on that kind of stuff. That'd be a great Bruce question, I think. Oh, Craig said he's running Hot Shot EDT and love it. Plan to run it in the new Volvo also. Yeah, no doubt. Where are we at, Jeff?
I'm at a place where a reefer is trying to back in right next to me, so my coverage is choppy.
Is he scaring you? That's funny.
It's Tribe Express Inc., a Native American woman-owned business.
Oh yeah.
And the driver is
nice stuff. By the way, for DPF alternatives, you can go to dpfalternatives.com. It's scrolling across the bottom there, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
Don said his truck has 32,000 miles and didn't do a single regen yet. So what he did is force regen it using OTR performance. Yeah, that OTR, that is a cool little gadget, isn't it? I haven't done I haven't had to do a forced regen yet. It is regenning more frequently as we're driving. If I'm parked for more than 2 days, 3 days and idling, it will absolutely regen a parked regen, not a forced parked regen, but a parked regen for sure. Even when I had the max mileage, but it wasn't a huge problem. Yeah, there's some sort of ceramic deal. She asked if the DPF filter is still ceramic.
I don't know. Charlie's the chemist. Ask him.
It's to the best of my knowledge, they are. By the way, for anyone curious, what a catalyst is, I'm going to dive into it. What max mileage does, it's actually kind of interesting. You can pour max mileage on a safe, fireproof type surface. Just pour a little bit out there. Try to ignite it with a flame source. It won't burn.
Right.
You take that same, and then you pour a little bit of diesel on the counter, and you light that, and it will burn. It's not going to explode, and don't put a gallon out there. Just a couple drops, right? This is a neat little experiment you can do for yourself. And it will burn. Pay attention to what the flame looks like as it's burning. Right? How intense? What's the color? How quick does it burn off? What's left on the surface when it's done burning? Then mix just a little tiny drop of catalyst in there with the max mileage. Swirl it around, make sure it's mixed up real good, and ignite that little bit of product with the diesel. You will see a visible change in the type of flame, the intensity of the flame, and what's left behind. It makes the fuel burn more complete, which therefore leaves less soot because it's actually burning off more of everything in the fuel. Yep. It is amazing to see. It's pretty cool. Chris said he's with Craig. He uses the same stuff. Oh.
Yeah, Hot Shot Secret is so here's the thing. We know what each one of them does. And we were actually testing different solutions for a while. And I think we settled on use both if you can afford it.
Right.
Because they do different things. But together, it seems to do really, really well, keeping the engine clean, better fuel mileage. Well, I can tell you with Hot Shot Secret, my story, Charlie. Engine was knocking just a little bit, getting old, right? I put that Hot Shot Secret in, smooth as butter after that. And it was immediate, like within less than a quarter of a tank of runtime.
Right.
So, it'll DPF or Hot Shot Secret will clean your injectors, whereas max mileage does not. Right. So that could have been it. I just needed an injector clean.
Yeah. I try to do that once a year. I use the Lucas product. And typically with Chewy, I would put it in at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. I would start noticing a little bit of a fuel mileage drop. I'd run a gallon of the Lucas cleaner through on a tank, and the fuel mileage would come back up on Chewy. And I noticed, less smoking and things like that. Craig said bunk heater. His bunk heater in his old Volvo started smoking after no longer using the Hot Shot ADT. So yeah.
That's interesting.
Hamey said update on his miles per gallon. It's 8.8 mile per gallon lifetime, 9.1 mile per gallon 30-day on his Western Star. So the new Western Star is not really bad on miles per gallon. I like it.
Yeah, his Western Star's got a different body style than mine.
Yeah.
It is a little sleeker.
I don't know what Marble's mystery oil is.
I don't either.
I just said it's like Marble's mystery oil for a diesel question. I feel like I should know what that is just because it says Marble, but
yeah.
Right?
Might have to turn in my nerd card.
Oh man. Craig's getting his new Volvo tomorrow.
Oh, nice. We're really excited for Craig to get that.
Video. Need a tour.
Yes.
Let's see it, dude. Man, I'm excited for you. So glad that's coming through. Gosh. That's a lot of work to get there, right, Craig? I'm just saying.
But it's like we were talking about in the first part of the show. Playing the game well. Craig plays the game very well.
Right.
He had an agenda. He wanted to do a thing. He wanted to test the new Volvo, and we even told them, of all the people, Craig should be number one because he knows so much about the Volvo.
Right. You
And
gotta
yeah,
live and breathe it.
it took some serious talking to get Craig into that truck. But you know what? He didn't let up. He kept after it and kept after it and kept after it.
Right.
Now your average guys might go 1 or 2 rounds with a company, and then they're like, I guess I'm not getting my Volvo. Not Craig,
Right.
man. And we were talking to Craig through this whole thing, and he was frustrated. I can guarantee you that. But in the end, he just kept at it, man.
Yep.
That's what you got to do.
I want to go back. Oops. I did something
Mine's
wrong.
terrible. Mine's terrible in this operation, dude. I'm embarrassed to look it up and show you.
I'm pulling mine up. Hold on.
Oh, I have to. Never mind.
I don't know how to use the new app so well, so bear with me.
So I did not even download the new app. I have to go get my other phone that's on Wi-Fi and
That's funny.
start it up. I'm getting old, bro. I'm getting old.
I know. My lifetime to date. Oh, there we go. Lifetime to date. Oh, this is a surprise because I knew it had dropped below 9, but it is currently 9.1 miles per gallon on my 23 Cascadia.
Nice.
Yeah, for real. I'm having some problems here. My 90-day is 8.9. My 60-day is 8.7. And my 30-day is 8.7. So there you go. I hope that answers your question, Lance. Want to know what DPF is doing, or DEF? I track that too, by the way, now. Lifetime on my DEF is 185.6 miles per gallon. I don't know why that's actually pretty low, because if you look at my 90 days, 224, my 60 is 227, and my 30-day on DEF is 228. An average 2 cents cost per mile. Hope that answers your question, sir. Oh, true enough, Don. Don said his truck doesn't regen because he doesn't idle much. He uses his APU. Yeah, well, but it's important to note that your truck does regen while you're driving. You probably will never notice it while you're driving. I never do.
So mine. So let me back up. So on my 2016, which has, 1 million miles on it, my lifetime on that one was 7.83 before I parked it. My 22 was at 7.91 lifetime. It's been long enough that I don't have like the 30 and 90 day numbers on those. My straight truck was at 9.64. A lot of good that does. It didn't pay very much. My Western Star is at 7.14, Charlie. That's a little embarrassing.
Right.
But you know why? We've discussed this.
Yeah.
They are paying me to go 70 miles an hour.
Right.
So, I
hey,
mean,
Lance said
the loads are tight. I've got to get the miles down.
Right.
Or lose opportunities, and they're paying more. So.
Right. Lance said, I think I heard Kevin Rutherford say fuel gauges was going to be a paid app soon. That's a bummer.
Okay. Well, that means that we need to bump up our project.
Right.
I'm just saying. Little teaser. We've got plans.
No, he hasn't fixed the his TCM yet. I hadn't even looked at it, honestly. That's the transmission control module.
Oh, no. So for me, guys, part of it is I don't even know if I'm going to pass my next DOT physical.
Right.
So I don't know what I'm going to. Maybe someone else can answer this, because Charlie and I were talking about this. If I make it into an RV, do I need a CDL to drive it? Charlie thinks not, possibly, but we don't know for sure. Donna was actually kind of excited about that prospect.
Right?
I told her we could do like Rutherford did and get one of those toy haulers to haul behind it. Get
Dude.
about the same fuel mileage as one of those big Monaco coaches.
Dude, you know what you could do too? You could take the sleeper box off of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put a longer box on it, move your fifth wheel all the way to the back,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then pull a toy hauler behind that and have kind of like a mini mansion while you're rolling, because the weight on that axle wouldn't be a problem. Huh?
Right. Yeah.
And you could take like a short cargo box and bolt that on and then modify the heck out of that thing internally. That I think that'd be cool. Yeah, Lance said pretty sure no on the RB. I feel like the same way, but I'm not positive. I think I feel like there's some sort of state type of deal that depending on the weight and stuff, I don't know.
Well, I'd have to relicense it as a private vehicle.
Right.
So I don't know. I'll look into it. Thing is that it would cost me more money to tow it out of the neighborhood right now,
right,
than I could get for it. So
yeah, that's the crazy part. Damn used truck market, something else. Don said his 16's 7.5 lifetime. Because we still driving 68 and 70. He was stupid back then. Then I still have his company driver mindset, and now he's in the entrepreneurial mindset driving 60. There you go, man. Preach it, brother.
So here's the more important number though. My cost per mile on this truck, my what I'm paying for fuel,
right,
is 42 cents per mile.
Nice.
Yeah, that's using I
feel like disclosure time.
That's using the ES card 100% of the time, because that's the deal I have here.
Well, hang on. What is this average? That's my 30-day average. I'm at 37 cents for 30-day. 90
days. Yeah, that
days,
extra 2 miles per gallon makes a difference, doesn't it?
Right. 60 days, 3.37, and the lifetime's 0.41.
So you figure my fuel surcharge at Panther last week was 37 cents. So I'm paying 5 cents a gallon, or 5 cents per mile for fuel.
I haven't even looked at this week. I've been really bad about, look, here's something for you guys you can call me out on and hold me accountable for. The last 3 settlements I haven't even looked at. This is going to sound terrible. God, I'm telling on myself, Jeff. I haven't even looked at them until I was doing payroll, which is well after it's all closed. So my bad on that.
Which means I'm paying, Charlie, 7/100ths of a cent per gallon for fuel.
Nice. So here we go. This is telling as well. I'm looking at the EIA site, and the last time I refreshed this page is March 17th update.
Okay.
So I haven't been tracking it. I've been doing that thing. I've been kind of on autopilot. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but that's real talk. So let me update it. 359. Oh, it went up this week. Nice. 2 cents from last week. 317 was 354, 324 was 356, and 331 is 359.2. So my surcharge this week is what? Oh, I just forgot the number. Dang, 359. Good Lord. We're at 38 cents.
So
per mile.
I'm a penny less than you right now.
So I'm being paid a penny.
Yep.
That's hot.
Yeah, you guys, you should really be doing this calculation, because the question we get, I would never be an owner operator with fuel prices where they're at now. Well, the way we buy fuel, I'm paying 7/100ths of a cent per gallon out of pocket. Charlie's getting paid to put fuel in his tank right now.
Yeah, I am not paying $3.59 a gallon. I did pay $3.39 yesterday, and that was a jump from $3.19 that morning. I was bummed
Yeah.
because we drove by in the morning. It was $3.19, right? And on the way back, I didn't check it. Oh, God, I felt
I was
stupid.
upset because I fueled up for 303 today.
Nice. Yeah, I paid $3.39 yesterday.
Hmm.
It was a bummer. And like I said, it jumped during the day from $3.19 to $3.39. On the other route that I run, it was $2.99.
Hmm.
And just full disclosure, that's using Comdata. Oh, Comdata update. Oh. So guys who are using the Comdata card, that you have to put the card in at the QTs, right? And you put the card in, and it says enter your PIN or press enter below. And then you press enter, and it says, okay, processing, reading chip, take your card out. Now put in your truck number, driver's license, all that information. Then the Comdata works instead of having to go in and get it started and all that. I learned something new. I had to get a new Comdata card. It's got the chip on. My last Comdata card had the little chip on it, but I could never use it on the tap because apparently tap was never activated on it. It did use the chip, but not on the tap. With the new card that I just got, it looks just like the old card, but I can tap it at the QT pump. Tells me jump straight into put in your truck number, driver's license, and it works like it's supposed to for real. The tap works at Love's. I tried it at Love's. It works there. If you slide the card in the card processor thingy majigger, it goes straight to enter your truck number. So you don't have to do the enter skip thing. So if your car's getting a little worn out, might be a good time to call the carrier, Swift in my case, and tell them, hey, it's time for a new card, and they'll mail you a new card. It'll take 7 to 10 days. Next time you come home, it'll be there. Activate your card, and you'll have full functionality of the card. That made me happy because look, okay, I use I use my Comdata. I always keep $100 or a few $100 on the Comdata card. And I use it to buy snacks and things like that off vending machines and stuff like that because there's a limited amount on it. If that card ever gets kind of hacked through that, I'm not going to lose much. That's the way I look at it. It's silly. But so I'll hit vending machines with my card and I can tap it on the vending machines. I'm so happy. You just don't even know because the vending machine at the Target DC, the slidey thing half the time is dead. Oh, God. Anyhow, I wanted to tell that the last couple of weeks, and Rosie's card, we tested Rosie's card yesterday because we thought, well, maybe they just updated the cards. Nope, she can't tap, and she still has to press enter to skip the PIN number thing. So the old card is still doing the old thing. The new cards are working as they're supposed to. I don't know why, but that's the case.
So, Don, I do not change the oil on my APU. I have to take it to Thermal King. And the reason for that is the warranty on the unit. If I touch it, it voids the warranty, believe it or not.
Really?
So check your warranty on that thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with the APUs. Yeah. And then, of course, Thermal King, their yards are like super small. And unless you have a reefer that's one of theirs on your truck, they won't let you just park a trailer in there. So it's a whole thing. Uh-oh.
Sorry, I was reading. I wasn't frozen.
Oh, okay.
I was catching up on comments while you were going. So Lisa said, let me throw it up there. Commercial driver's license CDL is required to drive a large vehicle like bus, and a non-commercial special license is required to drive some different RV classes. So I think we fall in that thing, Jeff. It depends. Ida's funny. She said, I can always tell when the fuel prices go up by looking at the reefer fuel billing at the beginning of the week. You should look at my reefer fuel because I bet you. Well, I don't know how your report comes through. I would bet that I don't know. And maybe you have to keep it a secret. On your report, I wonder if it shows the actual pump price or the Swift price. I'm willing to bet it shows the pump price and not the actual Swift price. But I bet I do better on most of your reefer fuels.
Well, according to the Google AI, I do not need a CDL if it's registered as an RV, but it also says that there are state variations.
Right. That's what I've been saying.
Good idea to check your state-specific regulations for RV driving requirements. Because I just asked the AI, if I license a Class 8 tractor as an RV, do I need a CDL? And it said, no, you generally don't need a CDL to drive a Class 8 tractor licensed as an RV, as long as it is used for recreational purposes and not commercially. And then it goes on to define what an RV is versus a Class 8 commercial truck, and then check your state.
Right.
I'm really digging AI, dude.
Right?
Now that it's integrated, although I'm skeptical as to the answers that I get from it sometimes.
Yeah, well, you still gotta be smart, be responsible, trust but verify, right?
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify.
I am liking the newest version of Gemini though. That's the Google one.
Nice.
Because it gives you a summary of like 100 different websites that it checked to get your answer,
Right.
with references to those websites. So you can do your fact checking if you want. And yes, as you know, Charlie, I do listen to Joe Rogan. So I'm very well aware of what Google tried to do with Gemini in the beginning. Right. We're not getting into that, folks.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. And it's hilarious. From a certain point of view.
Ida, I got fuel at the Loves near Macon at full pump price. I don't know what it was because
today,
I want to say it was like $3.59 or $3.69 for a reefer. And then the trailer I picked up was full, so I didn't have to fill that one, which was awesome.
I can tell you what it is right now. It's $3.55.
The day before, I put reefer in for $2.99 at the QT. I don't know if that helps you or not.
I don't pay anywhere near that, but that's what the pump price is.
Right. Yeah, Lisa says you'll have to watch the weight of the trailer you pull because that might make you require the non-commercial license.
So, like when Rutherford did it, though, he had a special built toy hauler.
Right.
Right, because he wanted to maintain the original fifth wheel height and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was really careful about the weight because of that. And he put a smart car in the cargo bay of it, is what he did, which I think is brilliant. Make fun of smart cars all you want, people. But if I'm going to drag a toy hauler across the country like Rutherford did,
he actually used to have a smart car up on the deck of the tractor.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that was cool. That was very cool.
Ramp. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Like the one application for a smart car that I can get behind.
Right? I thought that was great, man. All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes. So if there's anything hot you want to touch on, by all means, throw it in there and we'll touch on it. But yeah, seriously, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I really hope that you are, thinking about keeping your mental health straight, guys. It's really tough sometimes. I have people that I talk to. By all means, find someone you can talk to and just
find a Charlie, find a Jeff.
Yeah, don't isolate yourself. Find an Ida.
Find a Craig.
I talked to Ida about a lot of things. It's been a minute since we actually had a real good talk. We got to catch up, Ida, by the way. my schedule's been garbage, and my brain, my migraines have been something else.
We need to talk, Ida.
Yeah, Ida.
She's been 100% ghosting me this.
She ghosted you, bro. Man, that's cold.
Me. I thought she'd be excited.
Maybe she just don't like you, bro.
Well, then she talked to Charlie. Then we can work with that. Charlie knows about as much as I do about it, right?
I think you're actually better explaining it.
Yeah, maybe.
She's raggedy. She said, "We love you still, though, Ida. You know that. I truly. Ida's like a sister to me, like for real. I don't say that about a lot of people, but Ida is someone that I
Well, then,
here. Wait, but here's the funny thing, right? I could totally screw up at work. She would have to fire me or terminate me, send me on my way. You know, not fire me. Let's be real. And we'd still be good." DJ said, "Don't find a DJ. He ain't helping."
okay.
DJ
So
said,
if
"I gotta
Ida's
make my own
if
problem."
Ida's raggedy, that makes you Andy.
Whoa, whoa! I don't know. That's scary.
They're brother and sister, folks.
Right? But seriously, it's a trip. Like it's hard to work with someone that you have a strong bond with, right? It can be very difficult. So I don't know, balancing relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my strong points in life, it was drilled into me by my mother. Honest God, at a very young age, you know, friends is friends, business is business. You can mix the two, but there are times when they must be separate.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to be able to make that distinction. Yeah, DJ said he's just kidding. He's willing to help anyone willing to learn. There you go. But yeah, you know, but going back to the mental health thing, find someone you can talk to, you guys. You know, don't put yourself out there. I know I'm hard to get a hold of sometimes. Look, if it's one of these serious type things, I've said it before and I will say it again right now. Send me a text. Important. Something. I need to talk right now. Sometimes I have to kind of defer calls off a little bit, you know. Sometimes I'm busy, and if it's, you know, like a simple business type question, you know, I'm like, hey, shoot me a text or whatever, because sometimes it's easy to respond. If you really need to talk to somebody, shoot me a quick text because I'll see that first. Or actually leave a voicemail if I've cleaned out my voicemail box, which I have this week, by the way. Leave me a voicemail, and man, I'll hit you back as quick as I can. You guys, seriously, find someone to talk to. If you can't, reach out to me, reach out to Jeff, whatever you got to do. Super important, you guys. Don't isolate yourselves. Get yourself out of the negativity. Find someone who can help you get out of that stuff. Yeah. All right. 5-minute warning thereabouts, Jeff.
Okay. Hey, by the way, so I have an opportunity for people to live around Memphis.
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot about that. Dang, Jeff.
Yeah, I've got potentially 3 trucks that need to be seated for expedited. It'll either be life sciences, so hauling drugs and stuff, or DOD is what we're looking for. Got to be teams, preferably same household teams,
Right.
because they seem to be a little more solid. These are pretty high-paying gigs, home every weekend. They only run Monday through Friday on the medical sciences one. Military DOD, boy, that stuff, Charlie. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's hard to find real information on DOD. They're tight-lipped
Right.
about it. I've talked to a few of the guys that do that though, and they make bank. They're doing really, really well no matter what's going on with the economy, because you know they're moving stuff like small arms, claymore, stuff like that. So that's why it has to be a team, because someone's got to be on that truck at all times. So the guy that's needing the drivers, it would be a same type of deal as me. 60 to the truck, 40 to the owner. You pay for fuel, you get 100% of the surcharge, and then you know it's being a contractor but no ownership stake. It's a really interesting business idea.
It's a good cross hybrid.
Yeah, it's a good. It checks all the boxes as far as we can tell. But you know, it's also one of those things that I've seen people work with these guys and then get into an ownership stake after they learn the business. So there is that possibility as well.
Right.
But yeah, if you're interested, you know somebody in the Memphis area that's interested, and so the lanes that they're running really need to be out of Memphis. So I'm going to push that one. Got to be around within 100 miles of Memphis to run these loads. but yeah, Monday through Friday, man, making really good money. Home on the weekends. If you know someone that is looking for something like that, that's a team, shoot me a message. My messenger actually works again on Facebook, Charlie.
Nice.
So yeah, Facebook did that weird thing again where
Right.
it didn't work for a while, and then all of a sudden, like magic, it works.
Yeah.
So just shoot me a message if you know someone that's interested in something like that. They kind of need to fill these trucks as soon as they can get them filled. Because I don't know, you guys know how lanes like that are. If we can't get those trucks seated, then the owner's going to lose that lane. So
Right.
let's put the call out. I know we're down to like 11 people watching the show, but you're
Right.
seeing this on the replay. If you know somebody around that Memphis area, a good team that wants to run Monday through Friday and be home on the weekends,
The money's pretty good.
money's great, for what it is.
Yeah.
It's not having your own authority with 10 dedicated accounts money, but it's good money.
Right.
I guarantee it. If I was not such a loner, I would be doing it myself.
Right. So next week, we're going to be talking about the freight market cycles, how to survive and thrive in a challenging economy, how market shifts impact trucking rates and profitability, adjusting your strategy to stay profitable in downturns, and how to diversify your revenue streams to withstand market changes, y'all. That's what we're going to be dipping into next week. Jeff, I'm going to throw it out to you. Final thoughts, sir. What you got?
Keep the rubber side down, guys. And remember, with no action, there is no traction.
I'm going to throw out my normal thing, and I just kind of want to re-solidify it. Take care of each other, you guys. No one's out here looking after us but us. Yeah. Reach out, call, talk to people. Work on some of the things we talked about earlier in the show, and start working on building that community that's going to help you progress, grow, thrive. Sometimes surviving is all we need to do, right? Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we'll see you guys here next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah. Come check out the community and all that stuff. It's down there in the notes and the show description stuff. And we will see you right here next week. Like I said, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't forget to go down and answer those questions in the comments after the show ends. That would be awesome to help keep the conversation going, guys. It really helps us out. Hey, don't forget, click the button, y'all. Click the button, please. It helps us out. If you're watching this and you've never seen this before, hey, think about subscribing. We talk about some crazy stuff. Sometimes we're wacky stuff. Sometimes it's great stuff. Check us out. We will see you next week, next Tuesday.